Oh my gosh, I still cannot believe it. I know, and I will fully say that I was one to doubt this team having even the chance to win. I am saying that up front, but oh my gosh, they freaking did it. The funniest win that I've ever witnessed for Michigan, the craziest win, quite possibly the best win. I mean, this there's different levels of this with a national championship, with winning a national championship, but just the way that this went down with being such big underdogs and they went in and took care of business and won on the road. Michigan's only win on the road this season was against Ohio State in Columbus. I mean, how freaking hilarious is that? I just blows my mind. The whole time I was just like watching it and I was just like, oh, I'll take a tie in at halftime. And then it's like, oh, I'll take a tie in the fourth quarter. Like, holy crap, didn't expect this. And then they freaking pulled it off. Like every single turn when you thought that Michigan was going to lose it and go off the tracks, they just found a way to stick with it. And just crazy. I don't even know, like, this is just a reaction where this is not a normal episode of talking about like the bowl game. We'll get to that and everything in a future episode, but this is just like I can't. I would be so mad. I would. I wouldn't. I would be out of my mind if I was an Ohio State fan. If roles were reversed and this was Michigan, I would be so ticked as well. Like I get that, but the other part of it that is just mind blowing is some of the reactions to this. It, Everybody thought that last year was going to be the year where it's just like, well, the excuses are going to stop because even though they talked about the stolen signs, they had time to get ready for the game. Well, there wasn't enough time or whatever, blah, 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 whatever stupid thing. Fine. But this year, like, even after the miracle win, you're just like, there is no way they're going to come up with some insane excuse. But they did. They did. And the one there are plenty of them. There really are. But there are two of them that really stick out to me the most. One of them, which I see no evidence supporting this, is that Howard was playing with a concussion. Like there was one video clip of him like looking down and shaking his face mask or something on the field. And it's just like, how does that mean concussion? What's your protocol there? It makes no sense. So there's that excuse floating around that they were playing a quarterback that should have been pulled from the game because he had a concussion. Okay. But the thing that I've actually seen going around, and I saw it once and I thought, no, this is too bizarre. This is somebody who's trolling or something else. But I've seen it multiple times now that some people are saying that Ohio State and Ryan Day deliberately were not trying to win because they wanted to avoid the Big Ten title game and get extra time to rest for the playoffs. Stop and think about that for just a second. How stupid do you have to be to believe that? This is a coach who has been under Michigan's thumb for 3 years and has known that the accusations have been, we've only lost because they cheated. So then this is the opportunity for him to take his team and beat them at home. And he thinks that somehow that taking the loss and having an extra week of rest for the playoff is the right choice when how big this game is for the team, the university, him, the staff, the athletic department, the entire state, for everybody, that he just thinks this is a good decision. No, that is just an excuse that people are wanting to come up with. Just a flat out excuse. Not real. Does not exist. Like, I don't think he's that great of a coach. I think that he inherited a great program. Is he a good coach? Sure, but he's not that great. So, like, you're just making excuses for this guy at this point. I mean, you already have. And then there was also the whole dialogue of people saying, oh, well, technically Ryan Day's only lost 2 games to Michigan and beat them once because they cheated 2 years, and so those two games don't count because they could maybe get vacated or some other blah 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 junk. You're wanting to make excuses for this? Like you're wanting to make it seem less bad for who? Ryan Day because you want to keep him, or just because you want to feel a little bit better when you're crying yourself to sleep at night? Like what? I don't get it. Like, just be real. Now, I do completely understand. I'm not saying this as a blanket statement for Ohio State fans. I do understand that that is not all Ohio State fans. Like, there are plenty of them who are just mad, just want to be done. A lot of them don't even feel good about going into playoffs. Like, they just kind of want to lose and lose Ryan Day in the process. All sorts of stuff. But I just had to say that. Absolutely insane. Do not get it. Blows my mind. Like, sure, people were not happy with Jim Harbaugh because he couldn't beat Ohio State, but like this level is just like, maybe I missed it. Maybe I missed the people coming up with crazy excuses, but it was just more of like either accept it or don't. Either accept the fact that Jim Harbaugh may never beat Ohio State, but he's going to have some really good teams and be able to do a lot of other things, or get mad and tell him to just get rid of Jim Harbaugh and move on to the next person. I didn't see all this excuse stuff or like crazy. Of course, every fan base has those little small pockets of crazy fans and things like that. But the reaction to the gift, this is the game. The game was an early Christmas present that just keeps on giving. Always keeps on giving. Because going on to social media, especially TikTok now is fantastic. Love it. So much stuff, so much Ohio State stuff. Just like days. Like, I do not like to doom scroll, as they say, but ever since this game ended, it has been so freaking fantastic. So amazing to just scroll through and see all of this wonderful, hilarious content. So whatever they all want to say, if they didn't really care about going to the Big Ten or whatever, you know what's hilarious? Look at this. Look at this right here. 21, 22, 23, Big Ten champions, Michigan. I know there's not going to be a 24. For Michigan. I know that. But you know who else is not going to have that? You know who else is not going to that game? Ohio State ain't going because Michigan ruined it for them. So fan freaking tastic. I don't really care what happens in the playoffs. Like, honestly, if they win the national championship this year, I think that would just make it all the more hilarious. But it is what it is. I have already ranted and gone off about this. I'm surprised at how long I have gone on about this already, but there's just so much that could be said. And I had to stay up because the next episode won't be until we do a preview for the bowl game. So just throwing this bonus thing in there. Absolutely hilarious. Absolutely amazing. Congratulations, Team 145. You proved me and so many people wrong. But man, the last thing I have to say is, and this, it's crazy that I left it until the end because this might be the most important thing. The reason why Michigan won this game was because they played their football. They played their game. And and this is the part that just makes it so insane. It's like the cherry on top. Ryan Day and Ohio State had the better team, but they did not play their football. Like, specifically for some reason, and here's the information on why I think it is, that they did not play their football is that part of the thing was they didn't just want to win this game. They wanted to be the tougher team. And they wanted to focus on running the ball and stop Michigan from running the ball because that's how they won the past 3 years. So they wanted to like control the narrative and do all these things and be like, oh, we're so tough. We don't have to win by passing the ball. We can also run. Now, I heard there were multiple layers to this thing too, because I know there are some people who break down film and they were talking about how Coach Wink on the defense and everything had things laid out perfectly to force Ohio State into false security to think that they could run the ball and just fed them into the strength of the Michigan defense and shut them down that way. But even besides that, like, they just kept going to it and they were just like abandoning their strength because they wanted to be tougher. They didn't want to play finesse football. They wanted to play tough football, big boy football in the trenches. And they couldn't. That was not where their strength was. And it stems from the trash talk that Jim Harbaugh was talking about with third base comments and just different things like that. And it is stuck in, or specifically Ryan Day's head, but probably is a huge mentality of the whole team there and coaches and staff, that there has to be this toughness proven now. And so it's not just winning, it has to be winning a specific way. So then they step out of their strength and play right into Michigan's hand. It's like they got played. It's like they got hustled. Like Michigan, I know people say it a lot of time, but this is like literally living in Ohio State's head, and it's just eating away at them that they're making bad decisions and helped Michigan win this year and win this game. So just absolutely insane. So much more that I could say. I mean, like Ohio State was supposed to be buying the biggest, baddest roster in college football and everything, and we see how that turned out. That's one thing that I will quickly say that worries me a little about the college football landscape, and especially what could happen in the next few years for Michigan. Because even if they have that money is not always the answer. The answer is culture and team identity and team unity. And so if you're just, because I feel like this is partially what happened to Ohio State and didn't give them as strong of an identity for this team, even though they had so much firepower, is that even though you get a bunch of great players together, if that chemistry isn't there, if things are not right, if they are not all working together, as you have seen Michigan do since 2021, then they could easily fall apart and make big mistakes and big blunders like you saw this past weekend. And so Michigan has still been able to hold on to that. And so I'm really, really hoping that they do hold on to that moving forward as they are making such big advancements in the NIL deals and everything like that, with bringing in bigger star power that doesn't become an ego battle in the locker room. So only time will tell. But man, I will tell you what, right now, everything is so freaking fantastic. So hope you all have a fantastic week. 12-team playoffs coming up, bowl games coming up. There's still things to have fun and look forward to with college football, even with Michigan football. We're on top of the world right now, thanks to Team 145. So, but hey, Ohio State, you know what? As always has been for 4 years in a row, the common thing, there's always next year. So to next year, I guess.